My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome back to Property Profits Podcast. I'm your co-host, Bryce Kaminsky, filling in for Dave DeBow. And if you've ever wondered how a night shift worker was able to transform themselves into a successful real estate investor, ultimately overcoming mortgage barriers and capital constraints to move into the flipping business, my guest tonight, Rick Suh from Richmond, BC, he's got the answers on how he was able to do that out of market in Edmonton, Alberta. Welcome to the show, Rick. Thrilled to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Bryce.
Yeah, that's quite a story. You know, before the show, we were talking about the fact that you're actually an out-of-town investor to Edmonton. So you're investing out of market. And ultimately, like, the price was the reason, because you're looking down at it and you're saying, I can buy different things in this other market and get it done still.
That's right. Really looking outside of my comfort zone and going into different market and see what really made sense for me. And the Edmonton market was definitely a market for me. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to pick a condo for the price that I purchased a house over there. So yeah.
Well, I've been to Richmond and there's some like similar inventory, but the price isn't even close. Like you're saying, you can find that same house, but what's that same house worth in your backyard?
Oh,
700,000.
Oh yeah, easy. I would say like $1 million to start with.
Yeah. And then even if you fix it up, it's probably still $1 million too, right? So it's hard to do the math on that. So
yeah,
let's start at the beginning. That's your first project that you're working on, that you're finished.
that's right. The one that in Edmonton, I just completed it a couple months ago.
And sold.
That's right.
Beautiful. That feels good, especially in the flipping business. That's what you want to
That's
sell.
right. That's right.
Sell fast, get the money back to everyone involved, and
That's right.
And get it going. So how did you get inspired to get into real estate, working the night shift? Maybe there's some free time there for you.
Well, that was exactly it. Working night shifts. I've been working night shifts for about 10 years and change, and it's been really tough, both financially or like finding time wise to spend with family. I got 3 kids, and my wife is a full-time homemaker. So me going out there myself and making enough dollars to support the family was a real challenge. So I often work multiple jobs, and that always equals to not having enough time because you're trading time for your money, right? So I was thinking since last year, there must be some other way of growing your wealth or getting out of this rat race, right? So I've been looking into different options, and I found about this real estate investing. And me, I was, ever since I was young, I love the real estate. I often go to like pre-sale sites and construction sites, just look at how things are working out. I didn't understand a single thing, but it's cool looking at those things, right? So yeah, I mean, the fact that I was able to, maybe this is something that I can really get into, and the dream from my my young self maybe can come true. Yeah. So that's the reason why.
So what was it that that drew you in? Sometimes it's like a Rich Dad Poor Dad book or something like that, where you start looking at the numbers of it, because it sounds like you're looking at the things of it and then you realize I can make money in it. So when did money come into the equation and you decided this is profitable? What education, or what did you like? Are you a YouTube University guy, or where's your background in doing it?
So yeah, I mean, like I got this idea from, like you said, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then I read more of his books, and then I started, okay, maybe real estate investing is a thing. So, and I knew that, jumping into real estate right away could be very dangerous and scary. So I picked up the course, actually a couple courses, real estate investing courses. That was one of them was a Mel and Dave course, and I also joined Keyspire, right?
Okay.
And yeah, and then Wealth Genius at the end last month. So I've been learning a lot of stuff, and I'm just blown away for the first couple months when I was picking all these data. I was like, oh my, how did I know, right?
Yeah, it's you can imagine too how much longer it would have taken to learn all that stuff by doing it. And that's the beauty of real estate investing and books and YouTube and seminars. And, I'm a big believer. I mean, you get what you put in on those things. You can get into something and get out nothing because you just didn't put yourself into it. So you put yourself into it, you're betting on yourself with ongoing education. Where are you going from here? You've got this first flip done in Edmonton,
Mhm.
and what's next?
Well, I'm actually looking to close another property in Edmonton for the same
Mm,
purpose of flip, and I picked up single house, a single family house in St. Albert area,
right.
which is very desired neighborhood. And
Hmm.
I picked this up from a wholesaler, and I instantly loved it. It's got a huge lot. The house is in decent shape. It's a little bit old, but not as old as my first property, which was 100 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm just working to close on that property. I was talking to my contractors every day, getting the quotes, getting all the plans done,
Getting
and
ready.
just yeah, getting ready, ready to dive in. And also at the same time, I have a passion for multifamily.
Mm,
So actually, I'm learning a lot of it from my coaches, two coaches about multifamily, and underwriting some deals. So when the time comes, and when I have enough like partners and investors who wants to do it with me, then we're ready to go. Right.
so being a fan of the Rich Dad Poor Dad Robert Kiyosaki, he calls this the unfair advantage. What would you say comes easy to you that other people struggle with in the business, or so far? I mean, you've got to what's made you successful where other people might have thought, oh, that's too hard, or I can't do that.
Well, I have that mindset of when I decide to do something, of course I have to get educated first. But if the fear is the only thing that's holding me back, I try to just press it as much as I can. I just dive in.
Mm,
Just like this podcast, to be honest, I've
like the
never,
fearlessness. I like
that's
that.
right. I never had an opportunity to be on a podcast, but you know what? I'll be on it, and then I'll deal with the situation when I get there, kind of
Okay.
attitude, right? So
Well, you're killing it. So,
thank
um,
you.
that's true that, especially, and you can see why you're in the flip business, because it's, you have to have that kind of spirit to go for it, move
Mhm.
quick, make quick decisions. And if you thrive in that environment, certainly, flipping and what you're in is definitely going to serve you well. So what, in the next 12 months, how many of these things you plan to do?
Well, I got big plans. I love the Edmonton market, but now I'm doing the flip business for single family houses, but I want to bring that skill set to my um, home area, which is in Vancouver. So
Okay.
I plan to flip multiple condos uh,
Mm,
and possibly townhouses. I feel like that's a method of mitigating couple risk that you're not working as big project
mhm.
as a single family house. There's no roof for you to worry about. There's no furnace or hot water tank or for you to worry
Yeah.
about. It's just like a small space that you can renovate it. So and I can manage all that, from my backyard, right? Going to different sites and I can do that. So yeah, so I want to flip at least 10 properties a year. That's my big plan.
Nice. So you
And
got the first one is done a few months ago or a few weeks ago.
yeah, a couple months ago, I completed in September 1st. So yeah, it's been 2 months already. Yeah,
Okay.
3 months.
So on this pace, you're looking to do like one a month, that you got
Pretty
your
much, yes. One a month.
gonna put a new
Yeah,
acquisition every month.
that's
So,
right.
with all you've accomplished so far, moving and educating yourself, what would you say is your biggest obstacle now from holding you back from hitting that?
Um, Raising capital, to be honest, though, we talked about the capital constraints for my personal life and all that. You just don't have, if you're looking to do that kind of a project or any
Hmm.
other small business, so you need to be able to raise capital so you can leverage that. And so I'm meeting up with a lot of potential investors and lenders and having a chat with them, and I'm giving them positive vibes. So that will be, I would say that is the biggest obstacle. Like for my mindset, I'm ready to go, right? So I'm constantly
Hmm.
on the go of, okay, who wants to do this with me? Right? Let's create that win-win situation for everybody.
Yeah, because one of my next questions was just going to be, how do you plan to fund the next one? And it sounds like you're starting to go down that path already. Um,
That's right.
what part of what's one of the strategies that you're using right now to get access to those money partners? What are you doing to leverage your existing network so far?
Yeah, that's a good question because I go to all these events, these meetups, right? So I was in Keyspire Summit last weekend, and then the week before there was a hosting a three day boot camp. So in Edmonton, which was fantastic because that's the area that I'm investing in. So I was able to meet up with a lot of people who's investing in the area, locals, and people who got money, who got active deals, and I was able to build a good relationship with them, and those are part of the community that I belong. Um, so I'm, setting up Zoom meetings almost every day basis, and text messages to see, hey, I got this thing going on. You know, um, are you interested in investing? And yesterday as well, I met up with another potential investor who decided to fund this deal. So I managed to close that portion of it. So I would say I'm like about 60, 70% um, completed in this next upcoming project
Hmm.
in terms of capital. Yeah.
Well, with the capital, especially with flips, it's pretty capital intensive. You're bringing in lots of partners, you're bringing in lots of money.
Mhm.
You got to know exactly what type of money you're bringing to the table. So, um, how close have you come to actually getting people to put money in for these upcoming projects? And how difficult is it to raise money from your local network when investing in Edmonton? Because I imagine, let's say you're like talking to someone at a Starbucks or whatever in Vancouver somewhere, and you're like, I want to put money over the mountains in Edmonton. Like,
Mhm.
are
Mhm.
you in? Like, how are you managing that challenge, or has that come up yet?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, a couple people turned away because of that. To be honest, and hey, like I'm doing some flips. Oh, that's a great idea. They were interested, and we're talking. So we're investing in like, so what is it, Coca-Cola and whatever? And it's like, no, 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 I'm not investing VC. I mean, it's Alberta. I was like, whoa, what's going on? Like, why there? Isn't
Yeah,
it pretty
yeah,
bad over there for normal people's eyes? It's hard to imagine like what the markets are in other provinces, right?
yeah. If you don't know, you kind of have to educate them. So, what
That's
was the
correct.
what was the outcome?
Um, at the end, that person decided not to invest, but then
Mm,
he told me to keep him in the loop. He wanted to see how my project goes, and then because I successfully finished and sold my first flip, I was gonna bring that news to him and say, hey, I did this, and then I paid all my investors back with the interest rate that I promised. And yeah, like let me know if you got any more questions, and I can let you know like if there's a more deals coming up. And yeah, I think that's the process that people wanted to see. Like, okay, I want to see how you do first.
hmm.
Yeah.
So, what have you found? Because now you're gonna have to expand your network, right? So
Mhm.
you're talking about going to these different events and stuff like that. Um, I guess your capital now is becoming more diversified as you expand it. Like, you're
Mhm.
talking to people outside of your market who are already outside of your market. You're flying somewhere to see something. So everyone's kind of congregating. Um, have you found it easier to raise capital in a room like that versus just talking to the friends and family that you know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's much easier to raise capital when you're talking to like-minded people because they
Mm-hmm.
already have that kind of mindset. So I don't even have to explain like why the other markets could be more beneficial compared to investing in your own backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So they know that, and they know what kind of returns they are expected to get, and they know the process, and they just want to have some confidence in you, right? Like, tell me about your deal. Tell me about what you've done, right? So how you manage those process and challenges, and I want to hear those stories. Once you can prove that, then you know what? Why not,
Mm-hmm.
right? So yeah, I found that it was much easier to talk about raising capital.
So you've got these people that are out of town. They're on the same page because they're educated, right?
Mhm, mhm,
Um, when you're presenting the deals now, because we're talking about like the education of capital raising, what are you doing right now, or how do you go about pitching a deal to someone? Tell me about your process that you found to be effective for people listening at home when you're at these like networking events or having conversations. Like maybe let's say I'm an out of town investor guy and I'm talking to someone um, in my own market, for instance.
mhm.
What are you doing to present those deals to someone who needs that education from you?
Right. So every deal that I plan to do, and then what I've done, I put together a little presentation, like a investor package. So I
Hmm.
create these, I don't know, 7 to 8 slides talking about generalizing the market, why I'm investing, about myself, where the property is, and what the
Hmm.
condition is, and then my plans to go about, like, bedrooms, kitchens, and bathroom. What's my plan? What's going to be my outcome? Right? And why am I doing this in a certain way? How is this going to drive people to buy the property when it's completed? And also talking about the after repair value of the house when it's completed so they can see, oh, okay, so you can kind of like make this much money up of it. And then,
Hmm.
so yeah, I feel confident that, what, this is still within the margin. So, yeah, okay. So, and then I obviously at the end, I tell them like, what's in it for you? So this is what I'm looking to raise for this much interest rate and what the term is, what the payment is, payment schedule, for example. And then, yeah, and then that's like a quick summary and overview. And then I tell them like, if you got any other questions, give me a ring.
Hmm. And are you doing that in person? Are you doing that over Zoom like this?
Typically, unless they request, I just sent that information package by email.
Okay.
And if they got any more question, they usually just phone me and say, "Hey,
Okay. So you've
I want
already
to."
had like this meeting and then you send them
That's
the
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did one-on-one, so I have that information. I sent it out, and then I brought my laptop over for the
in
investor that I
person.
just talked to in person, and then here it is. I can show you like numbers. I can do the calculation right in front of you, right?
And
How I
then
came up with
and then you
that.
send it to them later.
Exactly.
The same
Or
meeting,
that's
same
right.
paperwork. Okay.
Same thing.
Awesome.
Exact same thing. Yeah.
Okay, so with the money, it sounds like you're a find the deal and then get the money person, or do you prefer to have your capital kind of lined up before you go looking for your next deal?
Not necessarily. I try to, I mean, I'm always in the mindset of raising capital. So I'm always talking to people about, hey, like I'm doing this. Are you willing to do this and that? And I have the list of people like who's willing to do, but
Mm-hmm.
not guaranteed. But
Mm-hmm.
when I do find a deal, that kind of solidifies the people who actually want to take action.
Right.
Um,
It's like I
uh,
got something. Like,
I
are
got
you
something.
actually in?
Exactly. And then this is what I'm asking. This is what I'm giving you, like that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would say like at the same time. Yeah.
So, one of the things you probably experience a lot when you're trying to get people to invest significant amounts of money, like 50, 100, $200,000
Mhm.
with you, they need to know you, like you, and trust you ultimately. So, what are you doing for those sorts of things in your business right now?
I for the people that I know, they already know what kind of person I am.
Hmm.
Especially people at work. They know like my personality and then my working style. So it's kind of like easier for me to chat about
Yeah,
because
because they
it's
already
like a
like you,
transition.
and yeah, they
Exactly.
already like you, they know you. And then
They
I guess
trust
that
me,
last
and
one is you're like, now how much do you trust me?
that's that's correct. Yeah. That's so
So
that
what
part of
about
it
to
is.
people that you what about to people that you don't know? Like when you're at that event, in Toronto or something, how are you letting people know who you are and ultimately let them like you? I mean, you're in person, so that's a little bit thing. So tell me more about that.
Mhm. So I try to give out more references. Obviously, it's hard to
Mm,
gauge a person when you're just meeting up for the first time, right? So
yeah.
I try to use references. Hey, so I did this, and then I gave him that, and then this was that person's response because I was asking how their experience was, and then I got that in a little chat and whatever, which I'm
Mhm.
going to crop it out and then post it on the internet and stuff like that for marketing wise as well. But yeah, I just showed them some proofs, right? So I think that's a great way of building credibility, and so far it worked out pretty well. Yeah.
So you mentioned on social media that you're cropping something and posting. Explain what you're doing in that space to
Yeah,
like, because ultimately that's the next question was like websites, or like where are you directing people when they're like, oh, I want to know more about what you're up to. Like how do they
that's that's
how do
right.
they find you, or how do they connect with you
That's right.
online?
Yeah, yeah. So I don't have anything set up just now yet. I'm in the process of designing how I'm gonna go about. Am I gonna
Mm,
create another account for this business, or am I just gonna keep my personal account and kind of switch over?
mm,
So I'm just in the process, but like I think what I decide to do is just I'm gonna use my personal account and then just kind of like because I already have the people there.
yeah.
So I'm just gonna use that as like, hey guys, for the past year I've been doing this, and these are the things that I've been doing and accomplished, and these are the experiences that I can share.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's my plan. So within the next couple weeks, if not next week, that should be up and running. So all my friends and family can see what I'm doing.
Yeah, definitely. Social media and just the networking in general. It's one of the new ways. You can imagine back in the day, it was a lot harder to raise capital.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, in a different way. I guess it's always been kind of the same challenges, but yeah, definitely. So great speaking with you. If people actually want to find you on social media right now and just like friend you and like find out more about your journey, uh, where do they do what should they do to find you?
Okay, so you can always find me on Facebook under name Rick Suh, Rick, and last name Suh.
Hmm.
Or Instagram will be RSUH89. And yeah, that will just it will just me. So it'll pop up. So please add me, and I'm happy to chat, happy to talk, happy to connect. I love people. So yeah,
Yeah, I bet there's some pictures up there we can see what you're up to as well.
for sure. Sounds good.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate having you on the show, Rick. And yeah, you definitely gave some great networking tips there for people listening at home. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bryce, again.
Yeah, no problem. And until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.